All right. Very nice to hear from you, as I thought you were irritated. So I'm glad to hear that you're not. Very interesting stories about being up on the tram with 100 people who were staring at you like you were an alien. I'm a little concerned about your high blood pressure, cholesterol, and the hip diagnosis of arthritis is disconcerting as well. I hope it's in the beginning stages. And yeah, it's good to hear from you. This is the view that I have when I write. I write on the other side, which allows me to view straight out that way. I couldn't find and that's a nice problem to have when you can't find text. You've written so much of it. But I'll just go ahead and fill you in on the situation with MM. And I challenged him a little bit. I recall distinctly being in the same bedroom when he confronted his girlfriend, Nancy Walworth, for having sex on a retreat, drunken sex on a retreat with Dan Pruder. And I remember the names, I remember the event. He was weeping on the phone. And I asked him to contact Nancy Walworth, as I thought, it's not really appropriate for me, but because I did experience it in a direct way, it's a very good story. And of course, it doesn't boost Matt's ego too much, and therefore he's not interested. But anyway, I did follow through and contact Nancy Walworth, and she's refused to contact me back, so I'm just going to go by my own memories. Uh, Bill Fleener was a good friend of Robbie's. Robbie's was a senior, and Bill Fleener was a junior, and he was the heavyweight novice boxing championship, Golden Gloves boxing champion in the state of Michigan in 1974, I believe. So they were in the car. I was in the car. Maddie was in the car, and they just brutalized him and talking about Dan Pruder and what happened to your girlfriend, Maddie. They didn't hold back at all, and that's another portion that I write about. It was a rather brief encounter. Maddie did his best to hold face and everything, but so those two incidents, the incidents of Nancy Walworth and the incidents I wrote about of post-traumatic stress disorder, I think are the ones that irritated him the most. He tried to kind of claim to me in person that it didn't happen. It was impossible on the telephone, and I simply said, Matt, I'm not asking you anything. I'm telling you what Mike told me. Grandma Annie subsequently night terror, and then God only knows, Grandpa Luther used to rope us around some trees inside a little cage, and a rope around tree to tree to tree, and if we left that, we were beaten. So I'm not sure if he was very kind, thinking that infants begin to manipulate their parents at 5 and 6 months old. A 2.5-year-old who had night terror, I can only imagine his response. Maddie says he does remember me crying and wailing and having this post-traumatic stress, and subsequently kind of denied that. So that's the gist of it. I've been working very, very hard, probably too hard, not having enough fun. I'm on the poetry site 2 hours a day and contacting friends. Mike Brown was great, long conversation, and freshman guy Dave Stimson from the cross-country team was excellent in providing some details. The cross-country coach actually had to quit the year after, just 1 year after I left. He probably had the greatest talent in the state of Michigan, with my freshman squad all being sophomores, and then the seniors and a couple of phenomenal runners. He claimed that he claimed that his high school runners weren't working out hard enough for him and weren't dedicated. And this is a guy who would have us run 9-10 miles a day and do half-mile sprints around a cross-country course of hills and mud and puddles and trees and vines, and quarter-mile sprints, and then run the 3.5 miles back from Immerman Park to Eisenhower. The reality was he had a complete nervous breakdown and was hospitalized. And that's really what happened to the guy, a big fat guy. He'd be a joke in 2015 as a running coach. But anyway, I got some detailed information that would be very valuable from his nephew, which Stimson talked to and filled him in about what actually happened to a phenomenal coach. He subsequently recovered, retired, and fortunately came out of the breakdown, had to quit coaching, and eventually built an airplane and flew it all around. So these are some of the details, and I'll let you go. I'm up to about 5 or 6 minutes, and nice to hear from you, and I will go over your letter again in a subsequent video. All right, good night.